national championship. I remember someone saying this on Twitter. Why don't they show who you played? Well, it shows who they played. It shows what the score was. It shows the year. It shows the team, because there's no guarantee that Sarkisian is coaching for that team. So I still want Classic Game Store. JG, I'm with you. I'm with you, JG. By the way, did you also notice the Bednarik in there? Best defensive player in college football? Individual trophies too. It's not just like rivalry and like team trophies. If you win individual trophies, it's in there too. All the different, especially conference rivalries, Heisman's in there. Yes, all of it. And if you want to talk about history, here you go. Here you go. It shows for your Dynasty save file. It shows all of the national champions. It shows all of the national champions for the entire history of college football. So when you start, you're going to have all of them in there. You're going to be able to go back. You're going to be able to see if they have the license. Do you think Offline Dynasty will be able to play any game for any team? I don't know, Chief. Yeah, for all of the Excel files we had, it shows the coach. Now, the record and opponent, they only certain things they can show for some of the historical ones. But yeah, it shows the coach that was involved, all of that stuff. Dual Bastard, thanks for the tier 1. Welcome in, man. Yes, you can see award history too. Utah, one of the new mascots there. Oh, I can't wait for this one. I can't wait for this. So there are going to be so many more transfers this year. It's going to be much more like real life. But the cool thing is, wait for it. Lenora Sellers, Keldrick Falk, Sam Leavitt. Look at the names in here. Coy Perrick's in here. Nico's in here again from UCLA. So many more names, so many more big names, and they're dynamic this year because if you don't give them snaps, they're going to leave. I do kind of love the hammer. Dynamic deal breakers. Y'all wanted this. I heard a lot of complaining about this. Dynamic. Did I see Will? Yeah, no. They have the same. They have the same. They have the same positions that Madden has. Edge, Will, Sam, Mike, long snapper. All of it's in there. So what this means is, if you have a guy with a deal breaker score that starts at like a C plus, as he gets better, there's a chance that deal breaker will go all the way up to an A. So can fourth-year seniors not drafted transfer for their 5th year? You mean if they have a redshirt year? As long as they have eligibility, they can. See, look at them go up. Yep. So you see, he was in a B, and now I have to let me turn the CC off for a second. Now he's in an A for athletic facilities. So again, and remember, athletic facilities is not something you can upgrade. So if you get a guy with a deal breaker of athletic facilities, remember, he might play his way off your campus with nothing you can do about it. That is going to play into your recruiting this year. That there are certain things that you simply cannot upgrade on your school. So players are going to play their way off your campus the way they would in real life. And playing time has been redone this year. We'll see this in the deep dive. Playtime has been redone this year. It's not just who's rated on your team and who you're recruiting. It has a snap count built into it now. Sorry, I got the circle on the screen. Gotcha. There is a snap count built into playtime this time. All right. Which is going to make that program builder or CEO way more important. No, athletic facilities, there are certain things that cannot be up, like academic. Athletic facilities are not upgraded. Nope. That's the thing, Lethal, is that there are certain grades for your school that you are going to be bound by. There is no upgrading athletic facilities. They don't. No. You have it backwards, Lethal. The athletic facilities do not impact the growth of the player. The growth of the player impacts what they want, but it doesn't make them go faster. Thanks, Wilkinson. Yeah, it does not affect their progression. Athletic facilities doesn't affect their progression. What it does is his deal breaker is going up. His want for better ones. We'll look at the deep dive. I don't think it does, so we'll see. You can see the pluses now. It does in off-season training. Does it? Does it? Okay, we'll look at the deep dive. When I look at the deep dive, we'll do it. Love this, by the way. Absolutely adore this. This is something that I didn't even ask for, or I don't think anyone did, but having more notches here now, you'll notice there are way more notches in all of this. Allows players to upgrade more consistently instead of holding on to points. This is a huge one. Now, I also want to understand when we talk about manual progression, because manual progression is in here, when we talk about this, I'm going to have some thoughts. No, it's good. No. This is not the manual progression. Manual progression is not what I'm talking about. If you compare these boxes to the old boxes, there are more of these now. There are more notches in the boxes. So the player rate, the ratings in those boxes, they upgrade quicker now. There's more to upgrade, but they upgrade quicker, which allows them, because what happens is in Dynasty in 25, the players are accruing points and they don't upgrade as fast. They do large lump sum upgrades faster. With this, you're going to see more consistent, even progression across the season. And yes, auto is the default. And manual has a nerf to it, which we'll talk about in a second. Also, another quality of life, it shows what coaching is affecting the player on the player card. Yep. This is a nice little quality of life here too. It shows what coaching abilities are affecting this player right now. You can turn the nerf off. Right. Love that, by the way. So if you're an Ohio program, you're not going to be bouncing California all the time. Especially the MAC is going to pull for the MAC, and what it's going to make is it's going to make those smaller conferences go into ruthless, just bloodthirsty recruiting wars. Because if you're in Texas, dude, look at who you have to fight against for talent. Think about Florida. Think of the people you have to fight against for Florida. Think about like the California. How many teams are over on the West Coast? There are going to be absolute blood wars for people now. It doesn't mean Miami will leave them alone, medium, because if they're a 5-star, it just means that if you're in California, you're going to have an advantage because you don't have to put as many hours in to recruit them. Do an FIU, exactly. Another quality of life here. The little top 3 icon where it shows where you are and what's happened over here. These little things right here. Little quality of life. Kind of love that. Kind of love that it's easier to read down now. Yeah, the red arrow too. Yep. Love this too. So you get down to the last little bit and you go into a recruiting battle with one other school. So this is going to be a recruiting battle with one other school. Any idea if you get more than 4 visits a week? Do not know if they upgraded that or not, BLS. Kareem, thanks for the Prime Gaming 4 months. Welcome back. Yeah, so now whenever you get down to the last 2, you're gonna get into this recruiting battle where you really matters what you're spending on. So can you control multiple schools under the same save? Couldn't you? I think you could do that last year, couldn't you? There you go. Bob Ganoush says coaching perk will allow you to get 8. There you go. Good call, Bob Ganoush. New archetype, by the way. I didn't call him out when they were talked about earlier. New archetype, backfield creator. Also, while we're here, I want you to remember, they told us all of this when we were in Orlando. I want you to remember that I also said to you, after not being excited for it last year, that I am as excited for Madden's franchise mode as I am for this. Just back your head for a couple weeks when we finally get to it. Okay? Back your head for a couple weeks when we finally get the franchise mode. I don't say this very easily. I'm very clear. I was not happy with Madden last year. Everyone knows that. I am as excited for franchise mode in Madden this year as I am for this. Just to keep it on the back of your brains. Yes, a seasonal and a career. How cool is this? Now you have to deal with not only your wear and tear for the season for the game, now you have to worry about season and you have to worry about its career wear and tear. This is such a great, you're not getting draft class imports. You might as well stop asking, Big White. I promise you're not getting them anytime soon because of the licensing. East-West playmaker, by the way, for a halfback. But yeah, now you have to worry about wear and tear for every player, not only in the game and how they bring it back in the game and week to week, but now you've got seasonal and career as well. No, Big White. Nothing to do with how they connect. Love this. Do not sleep on this. Do not sleep on this, okay? Do not sleep on this. Where your wear and tear sub-strategy for I want you to notice, this is not just the entire team. These are broken down by position. You absolutely do not sleep on this. You're going to want to set this. East, west is right and left, yes. For every position, you can set this either with a strategy or you can do the actual fatigue in and out. Okay? You absolutely want to do this. How come coaches in Madden have coaching headsets, but coaches in CFB don't? I don't know. Are we worried about headsets? I mean, some people will be. I'm not gonna trash that, but I'm not worried about headsets. This is a big one. This is a big one for those of you that like to have the do custom conferences and change things up. I will also say this. I have talked to people. No, for sure, Big White. I'm okay with that. I don't think that the headsets are low totem pole for me. Some people, equipment gang, I'm here for it. I want you guys to have everything. Okay, I want you guys to have everything. Just for me personally, the totem pole is differently done. So I talked to one of the guys that works on Dynasty. a lot of his time was put into custom conferences and it not negatively affecting the schedules this year. Remember, we had so many problems with the schedules last year, either double booking on a weekend for one team, or the protected opponents not working, or something like that. I was told that at this point right now, this was at the end of May, they have it to where if you were to completely blow away the conferences and put them back together differently, the schedule should reflect accurately not only protected opponents, but it should not double book. We should not have the same bugs we had last year. Road game and away game, by the way, is something that happens more in real life than you know. Go back and look at the schedule last year. I'm going to be real. I think it happens more than you think it does in terms of home and away. Maybe not 7-1, not that far, but like 6-4, or like let's call it 8-4 happens a lot. 8-4 happens a lot. So, but it's supposed to be conferences should be more even. Yes. So again, you see the conference rules. You can say that you can state where the conference game location will be, if there's a championship, number of conference games, if you want divisions, what's the championship game selection criteria if you have it, and then protected opponents in here, and you can have 1 or 2 protected opponents. Max of 2 this year. It's something they want to work on to have more of, but max of 2 this year. Deuce, I'm a sweater vest guy. Let's go. I'm assigning so many gadget players, man. So many different people in so many different places in Rice. Oh, there's going to be so many. Yeah, formation subs is huge. Formation subs is huge. And it sticks, yes, it sticks year to year. The only way it doesn't stick is if you change playbooks. I want to be very clear about that. If you change playbooks, you have to redo your formation subs. Okay? And I think there's a max of 50 you can do. I think I read that in the blog. There's a max of 50 that you can do. I don't think it stays across playbooks. I think if you change playbooks, it does not stay. We'll double check in the deep dive. I believe custom playbooks can do formation subs. I'll try to double check and get that answer for you, Bubba. God, did we see those, by the way? Did we see those, by the way? Hold on, wait. We're just gonna go right down as they list them off. Hold on a second. Backfield threat, halfback, new. Backfield threat, halfback. Raw strength tackle. Physical route runner, 6'4" physical route runner. Vertical threat was already in. Elusive route runner. That's new as well. So you have 2 different kinds of route runners now. You have a power route runner, and you have an elusive or physical route runner and an elusive route runner. So you have a guy that can body up and push off, or you have a guy that's going to just be able to move by a guy. Route artist. You already know, boys. You already know. Raw strength, pass protector. Signal caller, which I'm assuming is going to be like a there you go, like a mic. The mic signal caller. Power rusher, defensive tackle. Physical freak, defensive tackle. Lurker. There was a lurker. I believe that was a safety. Oh, no. I'm sorry. It's a lurker Sam. A lurker strong. Hybrid safety. Bump and run cornerback. Field cornerback. So if you don't know, there's going to be two of the new ones are called field and boundary. So it's a defensive back that is more used to being So like if you're lined up here, if the ball's lined up here, a boundary cornerback is more apt here, and a field cornerback is more apt over here. So you have a guy that's really physical and tends to use the sideline, or you have a cornerback over here. This guy's the boundary. This guy's the field. That's the difference. That's the difference. Right, field, you're essentially putting in the slot. Yeah, you want him to have more and more, but you want a guy that's over on the other side. Sam and Will also, well, as it stands right now, they didn't switch the beta. The Sam and Will didn't switch to the beta. It's something that I brought up and hopefully is fixed by launch. Gap specialist, my favorite. You heard that right. Crossplay is in Dynasty. There you go. Crossplay is something that, honestly, let's be real, should have been in last year, probably should have been last year. Now, chat, let's get into it. My Lord and Savior, the College Football Dynasty and Team Builder Deep Dive. Jared, thanks so much for the Prime Gaming 2-month resub. Welcome back to the squad. And Team Builder. Because there is some big Team Builder stuff in here too. If Coach Mills has sleeves for game one, listen, Rice is a warm place. There he is. Go Blue with the tier 1 66-month resub. Welcome back to the squad, my brother. Appreciate that. Scroll to the bottom of the article to see what the top 25 toughest places to play are. No, I'm good, thanks. Okay, we already saw this. Building the foundation. Okay, so you're going to hear a lot of stuff in this Dynasty Deep Dive that's all built around, hey, we built a foundation that we wanted to be able to build off of. I've said this before. What they're trying to do is they're trying to build an even foundation that is not directional in any specific way. What that means is they're being very, very careful by making decisions on the way they're doing things. So they're trying to be the opposite of their coach archetype. So instead of starting in the center right here, right? Hold on. Instead of starting right here in the center with a circle and then making a decision that kind of makes them go like this and then getting stuck out here and having to double back to do something else, what they're trying to do is start with a circle and then continue to build in even ripples where they're not making a decision that, and what's costing is a little bit of the granularity, they're trying to make even ripples, okay? Every year, unless something major happens in college football, they want to make even ripples so they can be agile and change to the ever-changing world of college football. Hell, to this day, we don't know what NIL is going to look like 3 years from now. That's why you don't see a lot of NIL things in this game, okay? Because honestly, they could kill it, or they're going to kill NIL. They could put NIL restrictions in tomorrow in real life. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to make everything that they're doing even and make it so that way they can make changes as they go as quickly as they can possibly make them, okay? That's, what is this? Oh, it's the pre-order now. My bad. So building your coach, building your program, and deliver the world of college football. That's their 3 pillars. That's the 3 things they want to do the most with, okay? Which is building your coach up, making it like an RPG. Build your program, which is building up your team, building your strategy, you know, how your X's and O's goes, and then building the world that you play in. Okay? This is the last pillar, and I think this is the pillar we see more of in 27. I will say that now. I will say that ahead of time. Okay? I think this was really well done last year. I think this is really well done this year, and I think this is well done, and I think this is the next big step they go into next year. I really do. Satisfy the core community because it's their game. Hi, you're the core community. If you're watching this right now, if you're on YouTube looking for analysis on a deep dive, if you've read this blog, you're part of the core community. They care about you. That's what they're saying here. Build your coach. Talked about this already. You create your coach, and now it is a tougher job to make decisions. But when you make a decision on your coach, it's going to hold more weight. We talked about this already during the video. First thing, they want your coach to look like your coach. They want him to look like the coach that you want to make. All the extra shirt styles. I believe there's a bunch of... He's wearing shorts, by the way. I don't know if they showed this, but there's definitely pants styles, too. There's definitely pants styles, too, because he's wearing shorts in this shot. So, also, is he wearing... Might be wearing branded shoes. I don't know. That's not me. Shut up. It could be me. Who knows? Not enough beard. Coach demeanor and stance customization. Is your coach cool? So again, little thing, but it makes your coach feel like more your coach. You know what I mean? Makes your coach feel like more of your coach right here on the sideline. The reason they took my picture, this was not it. Coach progression. Again, one of the things that they harp on is no coach can be great at everything. Every coach has a weakness. Even Nick Saban, every coach has a weakness. So you're not going to be able to do everything, even with 100 levels. You're still going to have to make decisions, and those decisions are going to have weight. They want your choices to have weight. So again, they upgraded from 50 to 100, rebalance the amount of XP each goal earns to better reflect frequency and difficulty, and they introduce a new level progression curve to provide early momentum while creating a much longer tail of growth. So you can see a lot more XP early, and it's gonna be as you get better, it's gonna take longer to get to those high-end pieces, okay? Progression is heavily influenced by the active archetype. Again, last year, you got XP for pretty much winning. You got some for recruiting, you got some for motivating or training guys up. You got some for doing certain things in tactician. Now, it's going to be much more tied to your archetype. Are you a really good recruiter? Yeah, you'll get XP for winning, but you're gonna get more XP for doing better in your recruiting trail. Are you a good motivator? Yes, you'll get some XP for winning. Yes, you'll get some XP for recruiting, but your big thing is training players up, making sure players get to their max levels, making sure they get snap counts, balancing those snap counts, making sure those players that start maybe as a 2-star under you leave your program, maybe even NFL bound as a 85, 90 overall. By the way, they've also redone progression for players. I don't think they talk about it in here, but I know that for a fact. That was one of my big harping points is like 5 years in, everybody was 97 speed. Don't think that's happening this year. Tactician now offers the highest XP ceiling, so you can actually get the most XP for being a tactician, but you have to win games. If you're going to a team that you think is going to win 8, 9, 10 games the first year, then tactician's where you want to go. It's going to affect your gameplay, and it's going to help your gameplay. So if it's helping your gameplay, you have to win to go forward. Conversely, Motivator and Recruiter will provide more consistent gain, but they won't be as large. So you're going to get those consistent small gains, but it's not going to be these huge chunks, and your ceiling is lower. So, amount of XP from each archetype perk is now scaled by archetype tier. Elite archetypes offer double the XP as the 3 base archetypes. So if you, again, this is more momentum or more strategy. If you go into the elite tiers of whatever tree you're in, you're going to grow faster because you're going to be able to get more XP by being an elite recruiter as opposed to being a recruiter and a tactician. Or you're going to get more XP being a master motivator instead of being a tactician and a motivator. They're encouraging you. They're pushing you to scale up in what you're good at, as opposed to, I mean, it's just like Twitch. It's just like content creation. You can do two things in content creation. You can be a variety streamer and stream and grow really slowly, or you can stick to your niche, stick to what you're good at, and grow faster. Same idea here. If you try to do too much, you will grow at a slower rate. Hybrid archetypes do offer more than elite archetypes, and Program Builder and CEO offer upwards of 10 times. So, again, talent developer. Let's say you decide not to go into those elite trees. You're going to grow slower to get to talent developer, but once you're in talent developer, then you grow a little faster. Same thing with the Program Builder and the CEO. If you hold off to get to them, might be a little slower to get to them, but you eventually will get a higher XP. What archetype do I get unlimited NIL money? None. Staff doesn't help you, doesn't just help you with your abilities. Their active archetype perk contributes to your XP growth. So you can do one of two things. You can have, maybe you're a master motivator, maybe you've got an elite tactician and an elite recruiter, and you're getting XP from all angles. Or think about it this way, maybe you're going to be a master tactician for all three of your guys, and every time you win, you get that much more XP because of it. So, any kind of AI for coach hiring. What do you mean AI? They do hire coaches. You will see more coaching. What do they call it? Poaching. I think there'll be more coach poaching this year for sure. Because you could also re-sign your coordinators. So, as part of the perk rebalance, we've also updated several archetype perks. For example, the talent developer now has the draft dividends, which awards 3,000 bonus XP for when your players are drafted. The CEO big game bonus now provides 12,500 for each college football playoff win, as opposed to only national championship wins. So there you go. Can you manually upgrade athletic facilities academic? We're getting there. Coach archetypes, again, you're going to start as a recruiter, motivator, tactician, just like always, but it's going to scale differently. So each archetype you unlock becomes incrementally more expensive. So last year, let's say you started as a recruiter, right? If you went into tactician, it was 10 points. If you went into motivator after that, it was 10 points. This year, if you start in recruiting, when you go into tactician, it's going to be 15. If you go into tactician and then go into motivator after that, it's going to be, I think it's 25. Those scale as you get other abilities. So again, the wider net you cast, the slower you're going to progress. It's built in that as you try to be good at everything, it'll slow you down on the things you're already good at. So, no, your starting archetype is already selected. You can't select a second one until level 10. That's what scaling archetype cost means. Yeah, elite recruiter will be much cheaper than right here. If you start as a recruiter, becoming an elite recruiter will be much cheaper than trying to learn a completely new skill set and become a motivator. Just like in real life, it's easier to grow within an existing area of expertise than take on new and unrelated skill set. So there you go. So again, you see this right here? So right here, if he wants to get the scheme guru, it's 30 points. But if he goes to motivator, if you look at the motivator tree, if he wants to unlock motivator, which he has nothing in, it's now 60 points. That's not even elite. That's not even master motivator. That's just base motivator is 60 points now to get into because his build is already this way. To go outside of this, it's actually cheaper. It is cheaper to become a scheme guru, which is the master version of tactician, than it is to go into base motivator. I love that. Making too much of a sim management game for a casual player? No, you just auto it. You can auto everything. The idea is reflected in the friend and family discount ability with the program builder, which reduces the cost of unlocking archetypes. So again, if you're maybe this is a way you want to be an offensive coordinator, right? If you're an offensive coordinator for a program that has a program builder that has this ability, it'll be cheaper for you to grow before you become a head coach. So, along with these structural changes, we also rebalanced abilities. We talked about this before. There are different boosts. So, pipeline bonus is now in talent developer. Bonus XP when drafted. Freshman and sophomore defensive line progress faster, and starting get faster XP. They're all in different places now. They rebuilt them so they're in different places. So, Coach Carousel. Foundation of the Carousel last year. They've done some quality of life and polish on it this year. You're gonna get notifications if your offensive coordinator accepts or declines a job offer, and also you'll get an alert if you have an offensive or a coordinator that is poached for a new opportunity. You will actually get a full screen alert, so you will know well ahead of time. Whether they're leaving for promotion or jumping ship, you'll stay informed and ready to react. There you go. With coordinators playing such a pivotal role, you also get new abilities in the program builder. So program builder is going to have new abilities for you called Forever Home, Deal Sweetener, and Cream of the Crop. So it increases the caliber of a coordinator if one gets poached from you that you can hire from. Coordinators are more likely to accept your job offer, and coordinators are less likely to leave for another job. All of those things. Finally, within the staff moves, you can now see more information. So before you couldn't see like where they came from, you couldn't see. Oh, if they were promoted or fired. Now you can see every single thing that has to do with every single coach move. So again, it's about knowing the history of your league. Missed the logic? Hold on. Wait, what? Oh yeah. Also rebalanced offer logic so the head coaches of top tier programs now receive better and more consistent job opportunities when the carousel spins. If you've earned your spot along the meet, the market will better reflect it. So there you go. Yeah, you're going to get better job opportunities. For those of you that are worried about the coach carousel and not getting the right jobs because you've already you've already won a national championship, this should fix a lot of that. Yeah, if they weren't fired, you couldn't see where they came from. Exactly. Trophy room. We already talked about trophy room. I'm gonna skip over a little of this. Again, it is branched out by not only mode, but it's branched out by coach too. So if you've got 4 different coaches in 4 different dynasty saves, you're gonna be able to see every single coach separately in these saves. As you can see in this screen right here. Every one of these is a different coach that you have different trophies that they've earned. They won 3 natties, let's say Bama, but want to go to UAB, you should be able to ask for that job. I don't know if you can go down, though. Yeah, I'm not sure. More than 160 rivalry, bowl, and individual award trophies to collect, whether you're flexing your 5th Heisman, 3rd natty, all of them are going to be in the trophy room. There you go. Not just limited to Dynasty, it's all modes. Road to Glory, Play Now, Road to the College Football Playoff, all of them. We talked about that already, so. Build your program, which is their second big pillar. So it's all about talent acquisition and roster management. Some of the same core goals in mind as last year while adding to it. The transfer portal has been completely upgraded to where you see anywhere from 2,000 to 3,500 players in the portal. You can control this with a slider. You can do a slider where if you don't want to use the transfer portal at all, maybe you don't like NIL, you want it to be old school where nobody transfers, you can make it so every team has 0 transfers. You can actually make the league, you can make it a 0 transfer league, okay? Or instead, you could make every team have up to 30 transfers. I will be playing with it on 30. It doesn't force 30. It says there's 30 openings for transfers. Doesn't necessarily mean that 30 will be going. So we also changed how we assign star ratings to transfer prospects. In College Football 25, players were assigned the star rating based on their overall. Now the star rating is more heavily influenced by a player's position and class year. For example, an 85 overall freshman quarterback will be scored higher than an 85 overall senior guard. So remember that too. If you're getting an 85 overall freshman quarterback, he might be a 5-star as opposed to a 3-star. So you don't know the OVRs. You're still going to have to do those scoutings. You guys transfer the coach leaves, not purposely. You can't like encourage them. And I'm going to be real. I know it does happen in college football. I feel like players following a coach happens more in college basketball than it does in college football. Am I crazy to think that? I feel like college basketball transfers follow coaches more than college football ones do. I don't feel like you hear too much of, hey, I'm following this guy in football. I think you hear a lot of people transferring away from their school if the coach leaves. With NILs become bigger in football. Right, but what I'm saying is the NIL doesn't affect, well, that's what I'm saying. If a coach leaves to go to another school, the NIL isn't as big, though. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? You are right there. A bunch of JMU players did follow to Indiana, Brent. You're actually right there, 100%. I don't think it happened in Southern Missouri. I could be wrong there. Well, Southern Missouri also is moving up in conference, too, so. Ball was the best. Elkin relayed they have a roadmap. Oh yeah, they have a vision. They absolutely have a vision. It's still 35 on the board. Still 35 on the recruiting board. The transfer portal isn't just a mechanic, philosophical choice. Programs like Colorado have leaned heavily in the portal, flipping their roster in a single offseason. Meanwhile, schools like Clemson have committed developing high school talent through long-term investment. So again, as another part of this, remember, if there's 35 spots, if you're a decent school, you can just say, screw it, I'm going to do it in the transfer portal. Especially now that there's going to be way more transfer portal players available. Eckmeyer, thanks for the tier 1. 3 months in advance, 4 months total. Appreciate you, man. Want the early playtime, but also with the physical game? Can't you get the physical game deluxe from GameStop and still get the early playtime? Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway. Moving on. Managing player expectations is just as important in recruiting. In today's game, players want more playing time, more exposure, more alignment to their goals. Sometimes expectations change. Dynamic deal breakers. Huge here. Especially if you're a smaller school. If somebody comes in, let's say you recruit 3 running backs the same year. When you recruit them, they're all playing time C+ is their deal breaker. Right? But they all come in because there's no senior above them. You're recruiting 3 at the same time, but they're coming in all together. They're your running backs for the future. But then the playing time starts to jump in a little bit more. We refined how the playing time deal breaker works to better reflect the realities of roster management. In 25, players with playing time deal breaker evaluated their projected depth chart position over the next 4 years. Then they simulated situations where a returning starter would see a highly rated freshman coming in and anticipate losing their job. But it missed one big piece. Cases where a low-rated player was actually logging snaps. So even if the player was contributing week after week, so you could actually bring a low-rated player and get them to progress without hurting the top-rated running back. Now, the system still saw them as buried on the depth chart based purely on overall rating. Playing time now factors in snaps played, ensuring that players who are actually seeing the field feel valued, and if they're not, they won't. There's one big thing missing here. If you don't give a guy snaps, they will feel undervalued. Caleb Williams, you're right, Salty. Caleb Williams did go, so maybe it happens more than I'm thinking. Even if playing time isn't a player's official deal breaker, it can be a deciding factor on whether or not they stay. So playing time can now be a deal breaker, even if it's not their official deal breaker, especially if they progress much faster. So if you're recruiting a bunch of 5-stars or a bunch of, star or elite level talent and you're not playing them, you just like to stash talent for in case injuries happen. Now you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to have to find ways to get them in. Well, here you go. Alabama's quarterback, Jalen Hurts, led the team to the national championship as a true freshman. He returned and once again helped Alabama reach the title game, but was benched at halftime. The following season, lost the starting job, only to later lead a dramatic comeback in the SEC championship game. While his initial motivations were centered around competing for the championship, his priorities eventually shifted. Entering his final season, playing time became top of mind. He went to Oklahoma and put together Heisman. Yep, the Hurts and Tua saga. Exactly, the Hurts and Tua saga at Alabama. So again, because Hurts lost playing time, even though everything else was good, he said, I need to get out of here because I'm going to be good enough to be drafted. If you don't play somebody, or if you have a top-end quarterback that you say, hey, I want to progress the younger guy, you need to be very careful on that playtime balance. Same logic applies. 5-star prospects, highly rated, and quarterbacks will evaluate playing time, even if it isn't listed in their deal breaker. If you're not getting on the field or they see a logjam ahead of them, they may decide it's time to leave. If you've got 590 overall receivers, you better find a way to go 5 wide way more, because it's not even about their production. It's not necessarily about, hey, he just got 50 yards because I threw one catch to him for 50 yards and it worked. No. It's snap count. It's not production. It's snap count. It's how much are they actually on the field. So you can't cheese it. You can't magically cheese it and be like, oh, he caught a 100-yard pass. We're good. Nah. Snap count is going to be a big thing. So prevents your friend in online Dynasty from being a cheese artist and redshirting every player on the roster when even a guy is a borderline starter. Hands up if you're guilty of redshirting a borderline starter because you wanted to have him longer. Every single one of us has done it. Every single one of us has given that red shirt timing. I promise you. So, this won't let you stack up 2 or 3 deep. Yeah, exactly. Jers with Florida, yeah. Evolving expectations, dynamic deal breakers are now a thing. Whatever their main deal breaker will go up as they progress. That's a big one. Again, they've already talked about it in the video. Here it is, big fish in small pond effect. So if you're a small school, Bryce, and you recruit a 5-star, if some magic way you recruit a 5-star, it's going to be a problem. We saw this most recently with Tennessee's quarterback, Nico, who's a freshman, led the team to the playoffs with a breakout season. As he grew into a bigger name in the sport, so did his expectations, or technically his dad's, particularly around his brand deal breaker, which increased significantly the following year. There you go. Can I say his last name again? It's Nico. With his rising profile, he expected more, especially in NIL. Tennessee ultimately chose not to meet those expectations or not talk to his dad and decided to transfer to UCLA, where players' priorities evolve naturally over time. They decide to enter in. So there you go. Nolan Shanana. Yeah, so as you see the deal breaker here, have A+, need B+. But here, have A+, need A-. 85, 91. So they will be different and evolve as they get better. This is a 85 overall freshman. This is a 91 overall. Also, by the way, rosters. You notice what else is on these rosters right here? The current points. I don't know if you can see that or not, chat. Right here, it's the current points they have to spend are now on there, which is really cool, by the way. Really cool. I also believe that when you're switching, when you're looking at this, did it show it on another player screen? Oh, here. This is also upgraded. It shows every ability, both physical, mental, and, say it with me, chat, the development trait is now on every one of the player screens. Player leaving. Yes, the dev trait is finally on here. It's very easy to see. You went to high school with Nico's dad? Really? Damn. So physical, mental, and dev trait are all on that screen now. Huge quality of life upgrade. We already saw that. Also, if players do decide to leave, abilities within the program builder. Again, there's that word, chat. Program builder. This archetype, they're making the CEO and the program builder much sexier than they were last year, chat. Additional persuasion attempts, increased chance of persuading a player to stay, and get an additional persuasion attempt if one of your attempts is successful. So again, the two top pieces of the coaching archetype, much more valuable. Much more valuable. To this day, I cannot watch the highlights of the full BCS championship game from 2006. Yeah, so as the expectations evolve, so much your coaching strategy. As you get better, you're going to need to grab some of these abilities to keep your talent. Period. Transfer portal customization. We just talked about this. You can adjust the max transfers per team. You can adjust the transfer probability for both the user and the CPU team. So both of them, transfer probability. Okay? My school. What is your identity? Your strength and weaknesses over 14 core categories. It's one of the clearest separators between a powerhouse program and maybe the Mac. Sorry, Mac. In addition to playing time improvements, we now consider actual snaps played. We also made several key updates across my school system to deepen realism and improve differentiation. First, we've rebalanced the grade curve across all 14 categories. Fewer teams now sit in the A or B range. Most schools will fall somewhere between D and C. This is not going to help the mid-level schools. This is going to help the powerhouses. The haves will be the A's and B's, and there will be far less of them. User transfer to zero, and actually you're the bag man now? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you are now, the haves are going to be the A's, and there will be far fewer of them than there were in years past. One of the biggest changes here comes to pro potential. This was a huge change that was asked for across. I saw it on Reddit so many times this year, and I know that's where they saw this too, by the way. Reddit, if you're listening, I promise you they read you. I force them to sometimes. No, I don't. They read very, very openly. So pro potential now is based on the school's historical draft results over the past 4 seasons. It does not matter what your seniors are right now. It has nothing to do with your current class. It's your history. So if you've got 4 90 overall players that are getting ready to be drafted and they're seniors, that doesn't affect your pro potential. You have to consistently put players into the draft. You have to consistently put players in the draft. See your first round picks in the last 4 years. It's a 4-year cycle. So if all of a sudden you stop putting players into the NFL draft, your grade will go down significantly. It's a 4-year cycle. Max Bro, Prime Gaming, 51 months. Thank you, brother. That's it. That is how it should be. Agreed. We've also made improvements to play style, the stat-driven grade tied to how your team performs on the field. Every single archetype, including the new ones, has had its play style tracking reevaluated. Last year, many defensive player types were overly reliant on individual stats like interceptions, tackles for loss, often leading to, if you do or don't. Draft still just by, the draft is by overall. Chad, by the way, what I told you about coach mode probably will not be in at launch, but they're working on it. I don't know if it's gonna be 26 or not. It was a last thing that they'd have time for. They know about it though on both games. Both games are aware of coach mode and the people asking for it. Royal, thank you so much for the tier 1 84 months. Welcome back. Appreciate you, brother. This year, more player types, especially on defense, evaluate team-level stats like average passing yards allowed or rushing yards allowed. This results in a more stable, fair reflection. Okay? As part of these updates, we've also reevaluated and adjusted the starting grades for every single team based on their real-world standing. So if you have a very good defensive team, Michigan, they're going to have, even though they might have lost some players, they're going to go with that. You're going to love to hear this. Tackle for loss. Not during regular games. During simmed games. Has been fixed. Tackle for loss during sim games has been fixed. Where sacks did not count for tackles for loss during sim games, or there were no tackle for loss in general, has been fixed. Sacks should, I'm trying to remember which way it was. Sacks should equal tackle for loss and also count for tackle for loss in sim games, right? Are sacks tackle for loss in college? It's one way or the other. I don't remember which one it is. Okay, no, tackle for loss is a running game stat. No, tackle for loss is a running game stat. So sacks do not count for tackle for loss. They fixed that, and they're showing tackle for losses in. Hold on, let me read this. What he said to me. Hold on a second. I'll read exactly what was said to me. You ready? Last year, sacks did not count for tackle for loss in Sims games. Any chances was fixed. It affected defensive awards pretty huge. Am I correct? Yeah, sacks didn't count. Or no, I'm sorry. Tackles for loss were not counted in sim games. Period. Not that sacks are tackle for loss, but tackles for loss were not counted. Is it the other way around? Whatever way it was supposed to be, I was told they knew about the problem and it was fixed. Whatever the bug was that caused it, they flipped it around. In college, because it's different in college than it is for Madden. Yes, in college football, a sack is counted as a tackle for loss. Right. What I'm saying is, but a sack is supposed to be a tackle for loss in college football. Yes, in college football, sacks are tackles for loss. That's what it's supposed to be. Yes, sacks should be. Pro is not like that. NFL is not like that. In college, sacks are tackles for loss. What was happening was during simmed games, they didn't count them as tackles for losses. In sim games, they will now count that. Correct. Yes, you get negative sacks are also negative rushing yards in college, whereas in the NFL they are passing yards. Yes, correct. Tackle for loss in college is a sack is a tackle for loss. In the pros, and you get running yards. In the pros, you take off passing yards. Correct. As long as we're not A+ for play style run stoppers, you should not be. It's not because they don't do tackle for loss now, Mad Chad. They do run what it says right here. It's team-based stats with like rushing yards and passing yards allowed. Tackle for loss is no longer the grade for the positions. Location-based recruiting, we already talked about this. The closer you are, the lower the schedule to visit. Right here, 15 because he's going close. Whereas here, Santa Ana, Wellington, Texas, for Texas is 15, whereas Texas going to Santa Ana, California is using the full 40. So yeah, location base is going to be huge for smaller schools, and it's really going to make those fights for recruits in heavy recruiting areas that much bloodier. Every visit costs a flat 40 hours. Now it depends on where you are. To help maximize your visits, by the way, CEO now includes a new ability, more the merrier. This ability doubles the number of players who can visit your campus in a single week, increasing the cap from 4 to 8. Again, they want to make CEO and program builder more sexy. The extra flexibility can make a big difference during critical stretches of the season, especially when you're juggling high priority targets and trying to align visit timing for multiple recruits. And if you're running a staff with a coordinator whose archetype is strategist, the benefits can stack even further. Bonus XP for every recruit who visits during a win. That if you're hosting a full slate of 8 visitors, you have the potential to significantly boost XP across the board. So those go together. As we covered earlier, active archetype perks are now one of the most important drivers of progression. So that way, you want to combo those. You want to know those. Sim stats sim stats are always going to be looked at every single year, Horn fan. They never talk about them in here because there's no reason to. In Madden and in college, it's always tuned. I know they looked at it. They actually had most of the upsets fixed last year by the end of the season, in my opinion. But they looked at it further. Sim stats is something they're always going to look at. Location-based recruiting creates a sharper divide. Discovering the next star. Where's the thing about, where's the thing? Here it is. Okay, geez. We've reordered how attributes display on the during scouting. So as you're scrolling through, you're not looking for speed in one spot. Because remember what was it? Eight squares, right? Remember it was like 8 squares? And like speed was up here for one, and speed was here for the other one, and speed was here for the other one. Now they should be in the same spots every time. So, if it's the same rating, so like let's say you have a like a DB, right? Let's say you have a cornerback, right? So when you're looking at their stats, speed will always be here, right? Acceleration will always be here. Agility will always be here. This box will be man cover if it's a man-to-man guy, or zone cover if it's a zone guy. So they will have specific boxes that change depending on the archetype. The other side will be always the same things. They have 300 coaches. They do not have former coaches. They have 300 current coaches, including some offensive coordinators, offensive and defensive coordinators. Not every head coach is in the game. I know that for a fact. So that's this, right? Then again, they want to make your decisions on your coach abilities matter more. They've expanded Mind Reader within the strategist archetype. Previously, you could only see development trait during a campus visit. And it also, whenever you're campus visiting, you're already involved. You're already involved. You know if you want the player already. You're not gonna waste all that time. Now, if you have Mind Reader, you'll be able to reveal the dev trait directly through scouting. So without a visit, you will be able to scout and then use another scouting ability or point to do development trait. I have no idea what coaches are in and what coaches aren't. So you no longer have to wait for a visit. You'll be able to do that beforehand. Mind Reader's in the strategist archetype, so it's one of the hybrid ones, Big Green. Strategist is one of the hybrid ones. So again, you're gonna have to work to get to it. It's not gonna be something you get too easy. Recruiting battles, we talked about this. When one school reaches the commitment threshold and another is close enough behind it, a recruiting battle will be triggered. So this is not top 3. This is not top 3, okay? What this is if one of the schools, if there's 2 schools here, right? And this is the commitment, right? If this top school gets to the commitment bar all the way up, but another school is right here, it'll trigger a recruiting battle. So getting to the commit doesn't necessarily mean you are guaranteed to get them anymore. CC Man, Prime Gaming, 7 months. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. So again, it will trigger a position battle between just these 2 schools, and then that's what this is. You're fighting them out for the last time. So it'll restart the bar, it'll reset the bar back to like, I think it's halfway. I don't think it's fully down, but you have to you have another race to commit. So recruit generation. This year, we've increased the number of recruits generated each season to 4,100. So you're gonna have a way bigger pool of players. You should be able to get players, but again, a lot of these are gonna be 2-star, 1-star, low 3-star stuff. You'll still be able to find players with high-level attributes and silver gold tier abilities, but there will be fewer of them overall, okay? So heads up, even though there's 4,100, right? Last year, it was like this. Last year, the recruiting was like this, right? So you have your 5 stars, your 4 stars, your 3 stars, your 2 stars, your 1 stars, right? This year, it's going to be more like a Hershey Kiss. Okay? So this year, 5-star or 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, and then way less of these. way less of the top end guys. So more overall, but way less of the very top guys. Correct. I had it inverse. Sorry, yeah. The larger number is the lower end. So they're the most is like 1 stars. The gem is returning. There is gem still. We've reworked how pitches and deal breakers are assigned to better reflect wants and needs of players. Glamour positions like quarterback, running back, wide receiver, corner, and edge rusher, new position, now put a much heavier emphasis on brand exposure to better reflect your expectations around NIL opportunities. So heads up on that. The divas want diva money. All right. Additionally, we rebalanced motivations and assignment of deal breakers across pitches to create more overlap. So again, it's going to be easier to get more of similar deals. Also, this is going to be huge for sways. I was already told sways are going to be a much bigger part of the game this year. Okay? Much bigger part of the game this year. Be ready to learn how they work. Reduce the weights that most high school prospects will start at to better reflect entering college. Again, you saw this in, I believe, Bordeaux put this up on his Twitter, where you're going to see the weight at every offseason. You're going to see the weight, the numbers of the weight actually go up. So you're going to see like 225 plus 3, or like 265 plus 15. Like all in the offseason, their weight's going to go up. So to sway or not to sway, one of the most powerful tools in recruiting, but it's also one of the most misunderstood. And this is right, because none of us used it because we didn't know when it was going to be good. Well, almost none of us used it. Sway is designed for the moments your my school grades don't match up with the ideal prospect. So what they're going to do now is when you sway, they're going to show you your chances of the sway working. They do not get taller. It's specifically weight. So again, if you have 2 check marks, you have a high chance of it working. If you have 1 check mark in the sway, you have a medium chance. If you have no check marks, it's a low chance, but still a chance. So you're still going to have a chance. It's showing you every single time how to do it. The freshman 15, yeah. So again, if you get a sway, so like his sway is going to be, he's going to try to do it with with 1 check, 1X, and 1X. Also, from what I understand, let me double check, make sure this doesn't say this in here. For example, if 2 pitches share 2 motivations, your odds are much higher if they only share 1. One of the things that I was misunderstood for last year, that I misunderstood, this, when you're swaying, this doesn't matter. I was told that when you're swaying, the grades don't matter. You have the same chance of swaying good grades as you do bad grades. It just depends on how many check marks you're trying to sway. This matters way more than this does. Right. It matters if you want to sway, which ones you want to sway, but it doesn't affect the approval. It doesn't affect the success rate. And you see here, he has 5 check marks now. Oh, wrong button. He has 5 check marks now, and it actually shows which 2 with like the little brain icon right here, which ones were sways. Your chances of success still depend on overlap, but players looking to maximize their odds can unlock the persuasive personality. Again, chat, what are we talking about? They want your choices to matter. It gives you a critical edge in situations where you're trying to open up new recruiting paths, especially when you're trailing and need to shift the balance in your favor. Used correctly, sway can completely change the dynamic of a recruiting battle. Recruiting quality of life. Again, this is huge. You don't have to keep clicking in now. You can see everybody that you need right there. You can see everybody that you need right there. Which is massive. Now you can do a year by year. You can still do a year by year breakdown by clicking R3. You can still get into the team needs down here by clicking R3 if you want to see the year by year, but you don't have to worry about this. Yeah, their fullbacks will be 0, and well, fullbacks were 0 last year, Luke, in certain offenses. Depending on the offense, you could do it was fullback. It wouldn't want a fullback sometimes too. In the recruiting board, you'll now see up and down arrows on the left-hand list next to every little thing. So yeah, here, right here, you're gonna see what part of the battle they're in, and it's gonna show you if your interest has gone up or down for every single one of them now, and an easy glance. So I'll never throw away my notebook. I'll never throw away my notebook. Easy to lose track of key recruits. We did this all the time. Also, anyone else notice something else over here, chat? Anyone notice something else over here, very specifically where I just circled? The stars. You can favorite now. Yes, you can favorite recruits now. Instead of doing what I was doing and actually moving recruits up and down, you can favorite recruits now. And I actually have a favorites tab. So what I was doing last year was I was moving guys up and down the entire time, which you can still do. But now by double tapping the Y or triangle, you can do that. Finally, advanced search filters to give you more on the prospect list. You can do maximum star rating now. Thank God. Thank God. So you can do minimum 1, maximum 3 now. Minimum pipeline level now. Thank God. And what recruiting stage they're in when you're searching for prospects. Yes, I said Tab Y does something. These updates are about helping you recruit smarter. Player progression. We're about halfway done, chat. Player progression. Living in the Iron Paradise. Oh, baby. In times in College Football 25, players would go long stretches with no progression, only to take a big leap when they finally leveled up a skill group. We now increase the number of skill group levels from 10 to 20. Those are the little notches I showed you earlier, chat. The notches I showed you earlier. So you're going to have more gradual and a more natural progression. Development trait also plays a bigger role in off-season progression. While there's still variability though, with how much a player develops, players with impact star and elite development traits now have a higher minimum amount they progress. What's my opinion on the recruits' appearance this year? I think all the players look better this year, Hornman. And also they worked on positional accuracy is what I'll call it. This increases the likelihood that a player with better development trait will progress more than players with a normal trait. Every year we see freshmen arrive on campus and undergo significant physical changes. So they keep calling it Iron Paradise. You see physical changes in the body. They'll gain weight with off-season progression. The amount they gain is influenced by their player position and their year in school. Simulates real-world differences in physical maturity between a freshman and a senior. Lastly, your school's athletic facilities grade in my school now increases the amount of progression your players receive. No different than the real world, where the schools with the best sports performance and nutrition programs seemingly perform at a higher level than the rest. The higher athletic facilities grade, the bigger your player progression boost will be. This is what we were talking about earlier. Athletic facilities are just another factor that contribute to long-term program building and highlights the divide. From what I understand, you will not be able to upgrade this. I will ask, though. Athletic facilities. I'm pretty sure that I was told that does not change. I'm pretty sure. I will ask, and again, if this changes, if you're watching, because I'm going to put this on YouTube as well. If you're watching this, come to the stream, check my Twitter. I was told I'm pretty sure that these don't change, and that gives the bigger schools, the schools that are perennial powerhouses that are known for their facilities, a bigger advantage. Turn a small school into a powerhouse. A low star school will always have bad athletic facilities, hurting your chance to build them into a dominant school. Possibly, yeah. Athletic facilities do change in CMP 12. That'd be an interesting change. Wait, they didn't change, did they? Wait. Semaphore. Athletic facility score never changed in 25. You had it go up? Maybe I'm mistaking that then. I don't think athletic facilities is one of the static ones, right? So has anyone seen it go down? It went up really slowly. Has anyone seen it go down? Academics, I know, doesn't change. It's tied to program prestige. If that's the case, that's my fault. Maybe I'm thinking academic prestige then. Interesting. Okay, so if it's tied to program prestige, then it would go up slowly. Campus life, I know, doesn't, and academic definitely does not, for sure. Okay. The more stars your program, the high. Okay, so it is tied to your star level. It's tied to your. So okay, so this can be upgraded then via your school prestige. Okay, so athletic facilities can still move. This is new though. Got it. All right, cool. Won some playoff games, so it's got to be. So it's related to. This is related to school prestige. Period. See, chat? Always be open to learning something. Always be learning with the TCU guy. Oh, I don't know. I didn't see it. Physical abilities. As Scott decided in the gameplay, we've introduced new physical and mental abilities this year. All physical abilities with a single attribute tier to unlock each tier. For example, 95 toughness for a platinum workhorse. Now, certain abilities, the more wanted abilities, sometimes take multiple ratings. Yay! Like Shifty requires change of direction and acceleration. Now, for what it's worth, it should still be things that are related to the ability. So like Shifty obviously is COD and acceleration, like that kind of stuff. So it should still be things that should be close. So, no, his deal breaker changes. I didn't know that it changed the actual number for athletic. From impact player to star, same thing. Dev trait now moves. So again, your dev trait can go up, and you will have an actual, and again, a big screen that comes up and says dev trait has been upgraded. You can increase the odds of a player upgrading their dev trait by purchasing. Let's talk about it again, chat. They want to make CEO and program builder sexier. The gains getter ability. So dumb name. If a player upgrades a development trait, you'll see a notification and highlighted in the training results. Massive big. I love that the dev traits can upgrade, and I love that the CEO has something to do with it. Because again, anyone that played last year that got to program builder or CEO, they were underwhelming. CEO and program builder last year were mostly underwhelming. There was a couple of really OP ones, but not a lot of them were worth it. Now it seems like they're purposely putting things that are worth it in there. Training results. Speaking of training results, no more arrows. No more arrows. You can see the numbers. You can see the numbers on training results now. You can see every single number that's been upgraded in here. You can see the weight over here. You can see ability upgrades here with the green. You do get an arrow there, sorry. And dev traits here, you'll get a notification, but it'll show you there if a dev trait goes up. Manual progression. This is also new, but there is a caveat. There is a caveat to this, okay? And if you're in a multiplayer dynasty, this is something you should pay attention to. If you want to manually progress players, you can do that. You can turn it on as an individual team setting. So it does not require every member of the online dynasty to do this, okay? If you're an online dynasty, people can do auto, people can do manual if they want. Here's the catch. Here's the catch. Manually progress a player, access their player card. Within the player card, you can spend their skill points to purchase ratings. So again, you see here the hold to purchase right here? For any one of the ratings that you're highlighting right here, right? Now, manual progression by default offers such an advantage over auto because you can just build up speed. Let's be real. We all know what people are going to do. Speed, right? So when it's turned on, it comes with a default 25% progression nerf. So if you have it on your team, your players will gain XP and gain points at a slower rate by 25%. The Dynasty Commissioner can customize that. You can turn the nerf off. You can raise the nerf. If you do it to 100%, it fully prevents users from auto-progressing. So again, you can change that. I will tell you right now, I would leave it on to 25%. And here's why. If you can make every player exactly what you want them to be, you have such a strategic advantage over anybody else. I think the 25% is essentially what you're doing is you're telling the player, hey, I know you want to be this type of receiver. I want you to be this type of receiver. You're changing what the receiver's natural progression is. So you should take a nerf for doing that. Now, again, you can do manual if you want, but at the same time, just know that if you don't have that progression knock, I feel like you're gonna have your team. I feel like you're gonna have a massive advantage, especially if you're playing against the CPU. So, personal opinion there, but again, that's why it's an option. Do whatever you want. Position changes. Difference this year is when they move to a new role, they don't get to carry over abilities unless they are shared. They will not gain new abilities by switching them. Okay? Their skill group caps are also adjusted based on how closely the new position relates. If you go running back to receiver, you don't get as many skill caps as if you went to offensive lineman. So again, you could start with for those who don't know, the skill caps are these. The little gray things that you can't, at the end of every rating scale, that you can't fill in unless you break them with a coach ability. You will gain more of these by moving positions this year. Team by team decision to connect to Dynasty. It's a commissioner decision. Team by team can turn it on, but commissioners can see it, and the commissioner controls the nerf. The commissioner controls what the nerf level is. But every team can do it, and the thing is, you can't turn it on, turn it off every week. You have it on, and then you finish a week, you can turn it back off, but you have to play the week with it off. Or play the week with it on. So your progression during the game will take that nerf, then you upgrade your player, and if you turn it back on, it goes to the next week. Cost in 25, yeah. Would it still be wise to move around offensive linemen? I would assume offensive linemen have much smaller things. That's what they're saying. Similar positions will have a lower grouping change of that. So again, shifting a running back to wide receiver, moving smaller than going offensive tackle. The farther apart the positions are in terms of required traits and responsibilities, the steeper the learning curve, which naturally limits the potential and current abilities. As you evaluate your changing player's position, the player module on the right, the screen will display a preview of which abilities the player will retain. So again, you have a 94 overall senior Mike linebacker who is moving to free safety. You see here, when he moves to free safety, he loses grip breaker, but he holds on to the other 4 because those 4 abilities are shared in the free safety tree. Okay? Yes, wide receiver QB would still be a big change. Yep. Yeah, Sam, Mike, and Will, and edge. Sam, Mike, Will, Ed, left edge, right edge, gadget, and long snapper. And there is a long snap rating, by the way. But at the same time, you see he moves down to defensive tackle, becomes a 90 overall senior, right? Becomes a gap specialist, 6'1", 235, but only retains grip breaker. Now, grip breaker is really good, so, but yeah, only retains grip breaker. So that's different from last year where if you change positions, sometimes you would gain whatever abilities you already had the levels for. Now you will not get those abilities. You will not get those abilities back. 1 second. You will not get those abilities. You will not get random abilities now. You only get to hold on to the abilities for the change. So, not just linebackers. Linebackers is huge. It's a massive change. It's in Madden too. Managing wear and tear, season and career health. Again, season wear and tear is a thing this year. You see over here, you have the wear and tear the guy currently has on his body is severe. Shows all the ratings hits, but then right here, the top bar is your season, the bottom bar is your career. If either one of those bars go down, you have to go to the off season. Right. You can't do running backs to offensive line to get quick jump. Correct. So, again, once a player's season health is empty, they will no longer recover wear and tear. So if he's at severe and he has a 0 season health of this top bar, he stays at severe till the offseason. Well, you can see right there, he's got severe on his arm and yellow on his legs, lethal, and he's got -6 speed. So, how does season health change season to season? At the end of each season, the pool replenishes. However, the size of the pool is determined by how full it was at the end of the season. For example, a player who finishes the season with their health pool nearly empty will begin the next year with a significantly smaller season health pool. This reflects the physical wear and tear they carried over the course of the season and their career. Conversely, a player who finished with a pool that's almost full will have an almost identical health pool size. You'll be able to see the impacts of players' season health on their career health bar over the course of the season. In effect, you are now having to manage players' career clock, every single one of them. How heavily a player is used from year to year will significantly impact their longevity, adding a new layer of decision making. So, to be clear, chat, players now, you have to manage their snap count because of their deal breaker, their stats for their playing style deal breaker, right? Their game, well, hold on, their game to game, week to week health, their season health, and their career health. All of these things can cause a player now to lose games or lose part of their college career. Every single one of these things can now do that. Every player does not have the same wear and tear rate. It is based on I believe their toughness rating is what it is. Stamina is their fatigue. Toughness is their wear and tear. Having to worry about that is massive, especially for Chad. Say it with me. Where are my online Dynasty guys? Who here plays online Dynasty? How many online Dynasty guys are up 50 points and still trying to cheese the computer for more and more plays for stats for awards? Huh? You're going to want to sit those guys now. And give them some time. What's up, Ballsy? Yes, there is also sliders for wear and tear for each group and strategies for them. So, and that's what this is. Every single the player's season health is on every single place that wear and tear is displayed. Yeah, but Chad, now you have something that can actually deal with it. Player leaves, does he carry that with him? It won't matter how. It won't matter. Once they're, you mean when they transfer? If they transfer, yes, they carry it with them. When they go school to school, they carry that with them. It's tied to the player. If you're talking about when they get drafted, it's not going to matter because we can't import anyway. Yeah, if you're talking about transfer, yes, it carries with them. It's tied to the player until they get to until they graduate. Auto subs are now incorporated. There are 4 strategies: keep fresh, normal, grind it out, or custom. And every single position has this. We saw this in the video. Quarterback, halfback, wide receiver. Every single position has this. So like if you want to have a defensive line rotation, you can do that now. Career goes to 0, they're done. Yes. You can see it in the portal. You can see it everywhere you can see player wear and tear on a player card. Should, chat, I don't know. I can't answer that. Should. Custom settings. We're giving you a suite of wear and tear sliders to give you full control. Again, Dynasty commissioners can set these. Dynasty commissioners can set these. Every single impact. So you have wear and tear on. Normal tackle, catch tackle, hit stick, cut stick, defender tackle advantage impact, sack impact, block impact, impact block impact, per play recovery, per timeout recovery. All of these sliders all affect this and are brand new. 5-star quarterback starts his first game. He gets his shoulder absolutely rocked. Bring him back in. It happens again. Career's never the same. Exactly. There are coach perks that I'm pretty sure there are coach perks that affect those. That affect wear and tear. There were a wear and tear on the coaches last year, I believe. I believe base school pipelines are the same, Eric. I believe base school pipelines are the same. Although it wouldn't surprise me if they changed a little, obviously with Missouri State and Delaware being in. So, obviously, as I just said, Delaware and Missouri State are in. I hope it's in Madden. We know wear and tear is in Madden, so there you go. Part of college football history. Again, being able to see all of the history stuff is incredibly important to most Dynasty players. National champions going back to 1869, including split national champions, conference championships dating back to 1896, national conference champion for, you'll be able to see the year they won the championship, their top 25 ranking, season record, and the name of the coach who won the championship. If this was a championship game, you'll also be able to see the losing team, their top 25 ranked, season record, and the score of the game. 21 individual player and coach award winners, for example, historical Heisman Trophy and Bear Bryant Coach of the Year winners. Again, in the history of your dynasty, instead of keeping large spreadsheets for this. Within the college football history, you'll be able to filter the spreadsheet by team and conference. It gives you the ability to see every Heisman winner for Alabama, every SEC team that's reached the national championship, or simply view every conference champion for the Big Ten. So, when viewing conference championships, you'll be able to see historical conferences and the evolution of conferences. For example, and you're looking at the Pac-12 conference champion, you will see the conference evolve from the PCC to the AAWU to the Pac-8 to the Pac-10 and eventually the Pac-12. And if you change it, then you'll be able to see that as well. As your dynasty unfolds, as history grows with you, every champion, whether it be national, conference, coach, award winner, is etched in the record books for all 30 seasons. No, they would still withhold names, Heel. If they don't have the license of the player, they're still going to withhold a name from it. Speaking of the awards, College Football 26 has 14 authentic awards, including the Maxwell and Walter Camp. Additionally, we've rebalanced how defensive stats... Chad? Weren't you the one talking about tackles for loss? Tackles for loss, and sacks are evaluated into defensive awards logic. No more Mason Graham and then Kenneth Grant. Back to back for me, chat. So again, you see here the national champions, the conference champions. You can sort them by when the team won them. All kinds of good stuff. Heisman Trophy. How many Big Ten players have won Heisman trophies over the years? Yeah, if they have a license for him, they'll be in the game for sure. So my lineman this year going to be an All-American? Yes, finally. Hopefully. Fingers crossed, hopefully. Got to see it in execution. Everything looks nice in paper. You got to see execution. In addition to college football history, you can now view all the player awards accolades from their player card. So now, if you want to see John Mateer on his trip from Wazoo to Oklahoma, you can now see every single award that he has won from his player card. And you see here, he is the one-time National Offensive Player of the Week, 2-time SEC Offensive Player of the Week, 2025 National Champion, SEC Champion, Davey O'Brien, Heisman, Maxwell, Walter Camp, first team All-American, first team All-SEC, second team preseason All-ACC. So again, this is cool. Again, in being able to see players, it's like when they added awards to the player cards in MLB. Get rid of the garbage Frostbite engine. I find fat cakes that people that complain about the engine of video games don't know what the engine of video games does. So, unfortunately, no, the Frostbite, unfortunately for you, no, Frostbite is going to be here for a while. Probably until the next generation, at least. So, feel free to develop a UE5 game at some point. So anyway, numbers don't lie. Again, stat junkies. So we believe numbers tell the story. This year we expanded stat tracking across players, teams, and conferences to give you a better view of performance throughout Dynasty mode. Let's see here. Tigers, the runner. Conference tiebreakers were incredibly hard to know what the hell they were last year. Now they actually show them with improved tiebreaker logic. So let's say conference ends the regular season with a three-way tie for first place between A, B, and C. All three finished conference play with an identical 7-1 record. Now we look at head-to-head first. For this, step 2 is record versus common conference opponent. Still no separation. Step 3 is CFP ranking. Team A wins. There you go. In addition to improved tiebreaker logic, they've also added columns showing a team's point differential and average margin of victory. When entering conference standings, the screen now defaults to your team's conference, so the information that matters is most front and center. There you go. I still think they could be more. I still think that both in college and Madden, I would want to see more penalties. But I think that's going to be a forever thing. I think it's going to be a forever thing. I was told that they messed with sliders. I was told that they've tuned sliders this year in terms of what sliders do, that they're working on retuning all of the sliders, so they're going to be different this year. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but they will work differently this year. So, stat padding, again, we're going to see touchdown percentages, which is touchdowns divided by pass attempts. You have your sack rate, interception percentage, touchdown interception ratio, net yards per pass attempt, fumble rate. All of these things are now in the game. These were already in the game, but again, they were a little buried at some points. So all of these are in. New positions and archetypes. We talked about this before too. Defensive ends are now edge rushers. Outside linebackers are labeled as Sam, Will, and Mike. Unless you're in a 3-4. In a 3-4, you still want edge rushers, obviously. Long snapper, and there is a long snap rating now, by the way. There is a long snap rating. Gadget players, trick play specialists, nose tackle, so you have your different techs in the front line. Again, nose tackle specifically for 3-4 front. We also took a hard look at every archetype. So there are a bunch of new archetypes. Wide receiver, for example. There's now a speedster. Doesn't really route run well, but is incredible in open space. Route artist, physical route runner. Not fast, but really good for like the Anquan Bolden routes. Elusive route runner, the Cooper Kupps of the world. Gritty possession, tough, reliable, physical, ideal for option offenses and run blocking on the perimeter. There's your Navy players, chat. Gadget receivers who can take snaps everywhere. Contested specialists who are, that's right, chat, your ag catches. Look out for this one. Look out for this one. And that's just wide receiver. There are a bunch of new ones at running back, cornerback, safety, linebacker. Every position has a bunch of new archetypes. So formation subs are now in. You can do up to 50 formation subs per team. Subs will persist season to season unless a player leaves your team or you change teams. Oh, there you go. Yeah. So if you switch playbooks, it does hold, but only for the formations, obviously, that are shared. Okay, so the formation subs are tied to you and the players, not the playbook. So if you do gun normal Y off week and you switch to another playbook that has gun normal Y off week, it'll keep the subs unless a player graduates, transfers, or you go to a playbook that doesn't have gun normal Y off week. Theoretically, you put a defensive player into the gadget slot to replicate some who play on both ways. Backwards, you can put DBs at wide receiver now. You can put DBs in the playbook now at wide receiver. And gadget players can play both sides, correct? But again, if you put a defensive back into the in 25 into like the 6th wide receiver spot, you can sub them in with the in-game formation subs. Custom conferences and protected opponents. This is pretty self cut and dry. You have 2 protected opponents for every team in custom conferences now. So that way, if you move them, obviously you can preserve Michigan, Ohio State, or Oregon, Oregon and Washington, those kind of things. So you can keep those rivalry trophy games going. Scheduling updates. All known future season games, including kickoff. So anything that has been scheduled in real life has been added through 2040. Okay? So, annual games like Florida, Georgia, which aren't being played in Jacksonville for 26 and 27, they've also updated conference rotations for both the MAC and the Conference USA to reflect the latest real-world alignment expansion. Now, if you do custom conferences, it will erase this. If you customize the MAC, it will erase some of this as a heads up. So know that all of this extra scheduling they're doing, if you change conferences or remove a team that's involved in this, it will reset that. It will reset anything that's involved in that. College football playoff. Let's see here. The college football playoff has changed its format. Here you go. There are no guaranteed buys now. It's the top 4 teams. The top 4 teams will now have these spots, and the 12 will be reserved for if there's a team that is a conference champion. So, or the 5 will be. I'm sorry, the 5 will be. The 5 will be reserved for a conference champion. But the top 4 are not like guaranteed conference champions. Those are just whatever the top 4 teams are. So that is in the game. Can you make a game neutral site? Not sure, Philly guy. Quality of life. Quick access to the player info. You can press triangle to open the player card in any screen now. And they put the player stats and attributes everywhere. So, you see the little scroll bar right here, chat? See the little scroll bar? Now you see season statistics as one of the tabs over here. Yep. Season stats on the Heisman page. But it's on anywhere you have this player page over here. Anywhere you have this player page, you can now scroll this bar. Okay? Development traits in the player module, quick access to the team schedule, the members tab for multi-user dynasties is now available there. Real Big B, thank you for the Prime Gaming 10-month resub. Welcome back. Cross-play is an online dynasty if you didn't know that already. And chat. On the pre-order bonus, obviously you do not have to use these. There's an option to turn the pre-order bonus off. You get an extra 100 bonus points for pre-ordering the game. And 1,000 coach points you can earn overtime and progression to give you an early edge. You can turn these off, by the way. Commissioners have the options to turn it off. So, Dro, thank you so much for the Prime Gaming sub. Welcome back. I've announced it 100 times yet. I've announced the first team 100 times. It's the little things that bring everything together. Dynamic time of day. So again, we talked about this before. If the sun is in the west and you're playing in California at a field that faces the sun this way, and you're playing in Texas on a field that faces this way, and you're playing in Boston on a field that faces this way, the sun will shine across it in different ways. They went back, Bob Ganoush with the Prime Gaming sub. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it, man. Welcome to the squad. They went back and changed every single sun angle depending on the time of day and the time of year. All of those things are now accounted for in that. Plus, you get dynamic lighting that will change over the course of a game. 5 o'clock game in September will be brighter and higher in a higher sun than compared to a 5 p.m. game in November. So you see the lighting here? This is your brighter sun, and this is your lower sun. And see how it affects the field? That's your examples. So, Super Sim tempo adjustments. Team who run up-tempo style of play will now have an increased number of snaps to better reflect their style of play for Super Sim. This was actually a big problem last year. Them trying to find the right tempo for teams like this was a big problem and something they worked on all year. Broken records feedback. When a player in your team breaks a single game, season, or career record, you will get a full screen takeover during the game. It won't just be a little nod. You will get a full screen during the game of, hey, this was broken. Coach stats. Coach stats are now within the coach stats screen. You're now going to see offensive and defensive coordinator stats as well. Force win. You can force a win or loss. And now says the name of the team you're forcing to win. You don't have to force home, force away. It'll actually say force Oregon or force Washington now. Combined opponent record. When viewing a team's schedule, you can now see their combined opponent record, giving you a quick snapshot of their strength of schedule. Advanced week confirmation. I don't want to talk about it. It'll ask you for confirmation for your advanced week. Yes, I simmed a Super Bowl, or yes, I simmed a national championship. This is the Mills rule. For those of you who don't know, they actually call it the Mills rule. Sim to points. When advancing the week, you now sim to any week in the season rather than only specific weeks. For anyone that doesn't know, you can only do like mid-season. Now you can go week 1, 2, 3, 4, wherever you want. Red shirt updates. Players can now play in postseason games without them counting against the red shirt eligibility. Additionally, now when you redshirt a player, it will not reset the entire depth chart. Instead, it only alters the positions the player was in the depth chart for. Scouting ability info. If you'd like to know more about what an ability is when scouting a player, you can highlight the ability on the right side of the panel and it will display a tooltip information about that ability. No longer do you have to keep a second monitor up for what every ability does. Okay? Increased spreadsheet row count. We love spreadsheets. We've increased the number of rows you can see in multiple spreadsheet screens. This prospect list and transfer portal now displays 600 rows instead of 300. The player season and career stats now displays 700 rows and giving you a better insight into the nation's best players. One of the things is when you sort some of those screens, because there's a limit on rows, understand that you're limiting what you can see. So, team builder. Oh, my team builder flock. One of the big things for them with Team Builder is they're finally getting out of beta. At this point, when Team Builder is released for 26, it will be fully fledged as a release. It is not no longer early access. It's no longer the Team Builder beta. It will be fully, and it will have much better performance on more devices. Okay. We know how much time and creativity you put in. We ensure you can bring your college football 25 over to 26. You can import from 25 into 26. That's one. Press the import button in the top right corner, up here somewhere, when it gives you an opportunity to do that. After seeing college football 25, you'll see every team you created in college football 25. Pick the team you want to bring forward, and you'll be able to enter the edit team page. Here we'll flag any assets that couldn't carry over and give you a chance to fix them before you publish it. Make sure you take a few moments to fill out the new team builder features because there are new features, okay? Defining your program. You have the chance to set all of your My School grades and define who they are as a program. Good Academics, Pro Factory, Powerhouse, Cupcake, whatever you want to put it as. Once you pick a template, you'll bring some projected team prestige and My School grades. Some of these grades will show up as exact values. Others will be ranges. That's by design. When you set your team up, you will see how that affects those. Stadium atmosphere will be adjusted based on the size of the stadium you select. By the way, I'm coming back to that. You now have generic stadiums. There are 3 generic stadiums you can choose from and a high school stadium because you can use Team Builder in high school now for Road to Glory. All of you that were like, well, I don't want to use the stadiums that are in game because they've got the branding of all the colleges on them. We were searching through all of those stadiums to find the most generic. Now there are 3 specific generic stadiums specifically for players like that will accept the branding of whatever you put in them. Skill ratings and abilities is just building your team out now. Bio and appearance, the first and last name for every single player, which you can now edit on the actual website. Enhanced roster editing. This is a big one. Roster editing now lives in its own dedicated tab at Team Builder. It's been enhanced with deeper customization. One of the biggest feedback points we heard was that it was difficult to assess how good or bad a player and team were when you were editing the roster. In 26, you'll be able to see the team's overall offensive and defensive ratings at all times at the top of the website. This will be updated in real time as you make changes. So the entire time, up the top here, you're going to see an overview of the team, no matter what you do, that will automatically change as you change things on the team. Okay? So all of this stuff, Again, all of this stuff to make team building easier. I think honestly, the biggest thing of all of this, besides the roster editing, is absolutely the generic stadiums, the pipelines that you can now assign now, and then the rivalries. You can now set rivalries instead of just putting a team there and it taking over the rivalries of whatever team you're replacing. Now you can set your own rivalries. Rival team, rivalry name, the first year is played. You can't put a trophy in, unfortunately, for it yet. But again, you can put a rivalry in the entire history if you want, even if you just want to make one up. So, toughest places to play. This is the top 25 toughest places to play in Dynasty. And if you've made it this far, man, as I've said before, this team, I've communicated with them. I've had some people that have been friends with this on this development team for a very long time. They care, man. They give a lot of care. Matter of fact, this guy right here, Chad Walker, for those of you who played NCAA 14 Revamped, he's the guy that he was the lead dog on Revamped. Like, you're not going to tell me a dude that worked on that game for 10 years trying to make it better for everybody doesn't care about this game. And then Ben Hallmiller has been with EA Sports for 25 years. So, yeah, I really do believe that this is a great year in terms of fleshing out. I know a lot of things people are going to say there aren't a lot of like groundbreaking mechanics. I think that's by design. I think it's purposely done by design to not have a ton of groundbreaking stuff, but to make the foundation that they set that much better. So, as you saw, the next one we're going to be talking about is the Road to Glory and Superstar, or Road to Glory Deep Dive and Superstar for Madden. We'll have that up on the channel too. Until next time, see you then.